in May, books for literature, but this is going to be, depending on the length of the video, this will be plays and poetry, and then I've also got literature, classical literature, and then certainly a separate video will be modern fiction. So here's Walt Whitman, Leaves of Grass. I think this is supposed to be his main compilation of poetry. I've been wondering lately, what is poetry? Can something sound, is there a difference between something that sounds poetic and something that is poetry? For example, should poetry rhyme? And I've noticed that a lot of Walt Whitman does not rhyme. And poetry can't simply be structural. It can't be just like putting a line 5 words long and then another line five words long. That can't be the definition of poetry, right? So I'm just kind of curious about that. Doesn't it sound nicer when it rhymes? Isn't it more creative and more difficult to get your thoughts into a structure of words in which the last stanza rhymes, or there's an A-B kind of formation going on, or something like that, right? Okay, here's it's just a little book. This is 10 Selected Poems by E.G. Pratt. 10 Selected Poems. Yeah, E.G. Pratt. This was 50 cents, and I don't know if E.G. Pratt, I've never heard of him. I don't know if he's any good. But he rhymes. Holy shit, he rhymes. So I thought that was worth. Hate when people dog ear stuff. That's just so unnecessary. Wouldn't you just use a bookmark? Why do you have to do that? So this will be neat to read. Okay, a few plays. Here's a Greek play. Aeschylus, the Oresteian Trilogy. Agamemnon, the Cophori, and Eumenides. So I think have all of the Greek. Well, probably not, but I've got the main stuff. I've got Aristophanes. By the way, if you want a good laugh, read Aristophanes' The Frogs. The first part, it's a journey of one guy. I can't remember his name now. It's a journey of him down into Hades, because there's no good Greek playwriters anymore, and they want to bring back to life Euripides. But the journey, once they get down there, it starts to suck. But the journey is hilarious. The kind of stuff that they do, the comical acts. It reminded me so much of what's Holy Grail stuff. What's that guy? You probably know what I'm talking about. The Holy Grail comedy stuff, whatever that's called. Aristophanes' The Frogs is funny. But anyways, here's some Aeschylus. Here's Pygmalion by Bernard Shaw. I think that's his most known work. He was around early 20th century, mid 20th century. So anyways, this is supposed to be his best. I think it's his best, so I have it, so I'll have a look at it someday. And here's Great Russian Plays. I guess I should give you the 1960 is this one, this printing. Now the printing doesn't matter so much when the text is older than the book. Who cares when Aeschylus was printed for that book? The copyright will be for that book, but anyways, there's Gogol, Turgenev, Tolstoy, Chekhov, Andreev, and Gorky in here. So, anyways, says here the 6 masterpieces of Russian drama. Okay, well, we'll see about that. They better be good. All right, here's one kid's book. Children's classics. Andersen's Fairy Tales. I got it for free from somebody by Hans Christian Andersen. It's a kid's book, and I don't know, it's, I guess, a bedtime reading book, if that purpose ever comes around. And there's some pictures in here, and there's little kids' stories. Here's a kid on a deer, I guess. So, anyways. Okay, now to a classical literature. They're not in order, but they're grouped together by author, except for one I'm just fixing right now. Okay. So here's Three Tales by Gustav Flaubert, A Simple Heart, The Legend of Saint Julian the Hospitaller, and Herodias. Okay, I guess I'll have it. Gustav Flaubert, what did he wrote? What's his most famous? I have read it. That is Madame Bovary. Very good. Unfortunately, quite a train wreck for the main character. And her daughter, which is terrible. The very last page of the book is awful. One of the most awful ending. Well, and I don't mean awful as in poorly written. I just mean a terrible tragedy for the world of the characters. The daughter is devastated at the end. She's a child. The last page truly sucks for that person. Here's another one by Flaubert, Sentimental Education. The back on this is good. I will read it. It says here, this is a quote from Flaubert. Flaubert, I think it's Flaubert, it's French. I know nothing more noble than the contemplation of the world. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. There was something about this book that people were saying that this was a better book than Madame Bovary, or more mature. I think here it is. It says here that this work, some regard this work more mature than Madame Bovary, if not the greatest French novel of the last century. And then it says this is a new translation of the story. Young man's romantic attachment to an older woman. Whatever. I've never heard of Sentimental Education being on the map. Madame Bovary is the one on the map, though. So I'll check that out someday. Okay, here's some more. Guess I'll do this one. This is a compilation of literature. I thought this was handy. Masterpiece. Masterpiece is a world literature. Plots, descriptions of principal characters, critical evaluations, and the significance of the major works of the world literature. Great. This is exactly what I need, especially for stuff I haven't written or read. This is edited by Frank N. Magill, 1989, and it's got stuff in here. Well, I guess it's in alphabetical order. Believe it or not, did I just see Nietzsche in here? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, Nietzsche's in here. Beyond Good and Evil's in here. I wonder if Zarathustra's in here. I gotta check that out. I was gonna give you the time periods of the like what's in here, starting from like whatever to whatever, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Zarathustra is not in here. Oh, there it is. Yep, yes it is. Yep, Zarathustra's in here. Does it say? Now, I don't know if I'll be able to find... I don't think I can tell you the time periods. Shakespeare's in here, though. Well, how about Huxley? Is Huxley in here? No. What about Orwell? Is Orwell in here? Guess you can kind of gauge the time period. Orwell is not in here, so there must be about mid-20th century is the stopping point. Perhaps even early 20th century, but I think probably mid. And then they've got, for example, they have, what's his name? Dickens. Dickens is in here. Great Gatsby's in here. But I don't know the earliest stuff. Perhaps the earliest stuff there is just, because I thought I saw Plato. I think I saw Plato. Maybe not. Oh no, wait a minute, it's got to be by, I got to look up the Republic. It's by title, yeah, Plato's in here. Okay, so this is beginning of time, I guess, beginning of literature until about the mid-20th century. So that's great, though. I'm glad to have that. Okay, now on to some literature, or more literature. Here is Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. I do have a copy already, but I thought the cover was kind of neat. It was 50 cents, so I've got it. I guess to loan it if I... It's a one to loan out if I need to loan out it out to people. Here's The Ambassadors by Henry James. I've got a few other by Henry James. This is a nice pocket paperback. Let's see how it's like this. Okay, a couple by Joseph Conrad, The Secret Agent, and Lord Jim's. Kind of a strange cover there. Joseph Conrad. Albert Camus. I think it's Camus. This is The Plague. There was something, let me just read the back. There's something about this one I wanted to mention. Oh, yes. Okay. It says here that the book is, well, it says here that the book is a straightforward narrative, but you can read it as if it's talking about Camus' native anxieties centered on the idea of plague as a symbol, and the symbol is German occupation of France, against which Camus fought so heroically during the war. So he wasn't killed during the war, though, but so that is supposed to be the book. The Plague as a German occupation. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, here's The Sleep of Reason by C.P. Snow. He returns to his hometown and finds himself taxed to the limit. Here's The Age of Reason by Sartre. And at first I thought this book was a philosophical work, just like Thomas Paine's Age of Reason. But it isn't really. It is fiction. And it talks about here, character is trying to raise money for the abortion of a woman with whom he has been living for 7 years. At the same time, he is obsessed with a desire for personal freedom. Individual tragedies and happiness are etched against the Paris summer of 1938. Oh, wow. So you know what's coming. And it does say here, the coming catastrophe of the Second World War. So, interesting. And the last two by James Joyce. Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, of course. Christopher Hitchens wrote a letter to a young contrarian, which is supposed to be similar, isn't it? Or no, that's not right at all. Letter to an Artist as a Young Man. Oh, I guess it's maybe that is it. Maybe that is it. Okay. So I have read that, and this was a couple years ago. I was disappointed with it. Perhaps it needs to be revisited. So that's James Joyce, and then James Joyce, Dubliners. I don't have Ulysses. I don't think I have it. I actually, that same day, most of these I got for 50 cents from a library sale. Same day I did find James Joyce Ulysses, but it was about Ulysses, so that was annoying. I did buy it, though. I didn't know. I thought it was Ulysses. I got rid of it, though. I don't need a book on Ulysses. Anyways, so that's it for classical fiction for May.